blazing down from a clear blue sky. The mid-morning sun seemed to be making only token effort to drive away the cold snap that had interrupted spring for most of Central Europe. Tightening his collar against the northerly wind blowing off Lake Geneva, Allen Caine picked up his pace a bit. It would have been nice to ride at least part of the way, but only the uninformed waited for autocabs in eastern New Geneva on Victory Day. Most of the vehicles had been preempted early in the day to take government officials to the stadium for the annual rally, celebrating the end of the Terran Ryqril War. Caine had half expected the cold to keep participation to a minimum. Loyalty conditioning didn't extend to anything as trivial as rallies. But there would be several Ryqril there, and New Geneva's officials clearly knew which side of their bread should stay off the carpet. Already Caine had heard the muffled roars of 2 cheers, and he was a good 3 kilometers from the stadium. An amazingly unashamed display of hypocrisy, he thought bitterly. And at this, the 29th year of such pageantry, one of the longest lived. A visiting stranger would have concluded the Terran Democratic Empire had won the war. The streets at this end of town were bustling with business as usual. The common people treated Victory Day with sullen indifference, and Caine had no trouble blending into the throng. He'd only come to New Geneva 2 weeks ago, a slightly late 26th birthday present, he considered the trip. But already he felt like a native. Like every other group of people on Earth, this one had its own characteristic gestures and mannerisms, the learning of which had been Caine's most recent task. Combined with his clean-cut appearance, such preparation would permit him to pass, if necessary, as a student, a rising young executive, or, if he trimmed his beard in the proper fashion, a member of one of the city's semi-professional guilds. Of course, it wasn't really a question of whether or not he could pass muster on this side of the city. But since he wouldn't be crossing to the government end for some weeks yet, he wasn't especially worried. Presumably, he'd be prepared for that by then. His clothes were a bit on the thin side, but Caine arrived at his destination before he was too badly chilled. Sandwiched between 2 bars in a lower middle-class part of town was a small tape and bookstore with faded volumes of Dickens and Heinlein in the front window. Entering, Caine stood just inside the door a moment, letting his eyes adjust to the relative darkness. A few meters away, lounging by his cash register, the store's proprietor eyed him.